Was that real? Did I seriously watch that? When you're a child, you get exposed to a lot of strange stuff. Some of it holds up, while others are so bizarre, we convince ourselves that it's some sort of repressed fever dream. This tiny space show pierced my subconscious recently, and I had to make sure I wasn't making it up. Atomic Betty is a 2004 Captain Marvel spin-off about a redhead defending the universe from evildoers. I saw it all the time on Cartoon Network back in the day. Going in, I had this notion it was gonna be hyperactive nonsense. It's actually kind of amazing. The post-production work is pretty insane. If you ever seen Powerpuff Girls in Foster's Home, it has that same energy. It's hard to believe the studio that animated this also did Johnny Test. Ah crap, I think I just gave myself the Johnny Test curse. Hey Alexa, how do I uncurse myself?
Please refer to owner's manual, section 6-9, reach the 10-minute mark.
Well, I guess I have no choice but to do a retrospective on Atomic Betty. Maybe that'll do the trick. For those who've never seen it before, here's the gist. Betty Barrett is a normal middle schooler, but unknown to her relatives, she's a member of the Galactic Guardians. No, not those Guardians. Those guys are chumps compared to Atomic Betty. It's sort of like Totally Spies, but less anime inspired and more sci-fi. A fish admiral interrupts Betty's daily routine and sends her on a mission. Team Betty confronts the villain of the week. She returns to Earth and resolves her loose ends. Let's go over the trio. Betty, Sparky, and X5. Betty is a 12-year-old tomboy with high fighting prowess. She's very chill and agreeable on Earth, but she's not afraid to stand up for others. She's got spunk, does a lot of sports, and cracks the occasional one-liner.
Your omelet-making scheme has been scrambled, Maximus.
Not necessarily.
Her second in command is Sparky, a green alien dude with 4 stomachs and superior piloting skills. He's quite the jokester and is the most temperamental of the group. Like Betty, he's also an adolescent. My favorite character is X5, the tactics/navigator droid. He's quite sarcastic and has a knack for calculating impossible odds.
Sparky! He's been stupefied!
Are you sure? How can you tell?
What are the odds?
1,2,043 to 1.
He and Sparky bicker quite a bit. It's like they got a thing for each other.
Hey, I only did that to save you, you ungrateful sardine can!
Truth is, you like me. You really like me.
The trio's kinda like the Powerpuff Girls, where they banter all the time, but they're on good terms. Team Betty's performances were really enjoyable, and I actually laughed at some of their gags. They're also super expressive, in spite of the limited animation. The 2D animation leaves a lot to be desired. The show uses Adobe Flash, which allows for reusable models and intricate body controls. While it's not the same, it's kind of similar to how I make my intros in After Effects. Compared to my process, which is like child's play, Atomic Betty's animation is exponentially more complicated. The animation is janky and unnatural. You're gonna see the same walk cycles over and over again.
That's it? That was just a bunch of cheap walk cycles!
At least the models can portray a wide array of emotions. Let's talk about the presentation. Atomic Betty uses a retro-futuristic aesthetic, and it's generally pleasing. It's filled with semi-minimal backdrops and characters with bold outlines. Despite the subpar animation, they did a pretty good job at getting the most out of their limited assets. What's even more impressive is the storyboarding. My god, the artists went above and beyond for the action scenes. The show employs comic book panel split screens. The dynamic framing and variety of different angles is quite astounding. Look at these shots! They really cared. But that's not all. Let's throw in graphically ambitious 3D scenes in the mix. This show loves 3D spaceships. You think that's not enough? Let's have fully elaborate dogfights on top of that. These scenes make up a huge chunk of the series. You gotta remember, a lot of mid-2000s shows experimented with computer-generated imagery. Sometimes it was decent, and other times it was, pretty rough. Atomic Betty's like, let's make the best space opera ever. It's so great, it's kind of painful. Like, okay, you have the Adobe Flash bits being stretched to their absolute limit, while the 3D portions fire on all cylinders. Both types of assets mesh surprisingly well, at least for the time. As someone who does motion graphics in his free time, I've got mad respect for the animation team. You guys went above and beyond. So, back to the program. Atomic Betty does the tried and true secret identity shtick, but Space Girl subverts this formula in ways that are fun. For one, her friends acknowledge her flaky behavior.
While we're at it, let's sell that charm bracelet. It's gotta be broken. It won't stop beeping.
I'm getting out of here before you try to sell me.
Her bracelet lights up?
It's a Betty thing.
Where do you think she goes?
I don't know. I never really thought about it.
I can't tell you in how many shows where the hero has to leave suddenly, and no one seems concerned where they've gone. 2. Betty acts like a kid her age. She isn't completely absorbed in her galactic work. She's more concerned for her home life. She's actually really comfortable with sharing her domestic frustrations with her crew.
Trouble on planet Earth?
You have to listen to that, and I'm like, Dad, it's the only thing that wakes me up. Now I have no idea where I'm going to get 5 backstage passes to Missy Miss. Put everything back together now. The safety of the universe is at stake, and also my gym grade.
Now, you can have the wackiest action comedy ever, but if the characters don't act their age, then you lost me.
Perhaps you'd like a shake instead.
Wait, no, not yet. Alright. The curse is growing impatient. Let's bring up Johnny Test. To be clear, the company that animated both Johnny Test and Atomic Betty only did the animation. Both shows had totally separate creative teams. I tried watching Flameboy this year, and I couldn't make it. The first season is fine, I guess. Anything past that is a downward spiral. Everyone screams, the pacing is relentless, and the audio design is absolutely terrible. You know how people like to joke about the endless whip cracks? They weren't exaggerating.
It's another freakishly awesome day of summer vacation. Surfboards or skateboards, pirates or ninjas. Just one day of summer left, then it's back to prison.
I mentioned earlier Atomic Betty is like a fever dream, but it's a dream where all my interests coalesce into one joyful experience. Flameboy is a full-on assault on your senses. It's the equivalent of eating a whole bowl of raw onions. I mean, it helps that Space Girl contains decent writing. Let's keep this straight. Atomic Betty isn't some philosophical discourse on the human condition. There are rare occasions of real emotional stakes, but its main priority is being a fun time. I like the writing because it's very tongue-in-cheek, snappy, and self-aware. I wonder who the writers were. Wait, is that who I think it is? Yeah, Edd N Eddy and Atomic Betty share some of the same writers. That explains some of the meta humor.
As vast as my databank is, I rather doubt you'll find her music.
Here we go. I hope you're paying for those MP3s.
Greg! Hey, you're gonna hurt somebody! This ain't a cartoon!
Hey, this stuff's good.
I haven't even talked about the best part, the villains. The primary baddie is Maximus IQ, a not-so-bright feline overlord. He's a klutz. Like, what is he gonna do? Destroy the moon?
You call that evil? I will show you evil!
That's right, this is what you get! My super laser pierce!
Well, I guess he is a supervillain. His second in command is Minimus, a guy with multiple personality disorder. Maximus, in particular, is a riot whenever he's on screen. He has delusions of grandeur about being a proper villain, but it usually backfires. The guy who voices him is having the time of his life.
I want you all to blast Atomic Betty and her silly friends to smithereens!
Now Jackamoose will pay for their copyright infringement.
There's a whole gallery of wacky B-movie villains. We've got brain guys, fashionistas, infants, and so many more. I don't think I have time to go over them. They're all pretty great. But they did put up a fight in the season finale. At the end of the first season, Betty discovers that her grandmother, Beatrixo, was an original founder of the Galactic Guardians. Team Betty gets into a sticky situation, but Beatrixo briefly comes out of retirement and rescues them. This sounds a little familiar. A kid grows up into a life of alien crime fighting. Their parents don't know it, but their grandparent is a member of galactic law enforcers. But the grandparent didn't tell the grandchild until the time was right. Dude, that's just Ben 10. Both shows premiered a year apart, so great minds think alike, I guess. The obvious difference is that Ben got into hero life by accident, while Betty and her crew trained since kindergarten. Season 2 introduces a long-term story arc. Betty befriends Paloma, a transfer student with a hidden agenda. She's a shapeshifter. Paloma is kind and sweet, but she usually steals Betty's attention away from her best friend Noah. I have yet to mention the other human characters. Since I still have a curse to lift, I'll mention the most important. First, there's Noah, Betty's best friend who's academically sound but attracts bad luck. He mostly exists to be Betty's simp. Then there's Penelope, Betty's popular girl rival. She constantly tries to one-up Betty, but it usually doesn't go far. Back on topic, Season 2 is a worthy continuation. The post-production work is spectacular, but they kinda dropped the ball with Paloma's alien reveal arc. Basically, Paloma and her little sister were wanted fugitives and hid on Earth. Paloma's father was a rad space demon who destroyed entire planets, but the original Galactic Guardians trapped him. Paloma's evil twin sister wants to resurrect their father, and Paloma is the key to this plan. For some reason, Team Betty defeats the evil twin and the space demon. In Season 3, Maximus uncovers the coordinates of Galactic Guardian headquarters and destroys it. Admiral DeGill and the other Guardians relocate underneath Betty's hometown. Maximus discovers this new location and decides to destroy Earth once and for all. Paloma takes Betty's Star Cruiser as a decoy and lures the cat to the Outer Rim. That's it. Paloma just eats out of there. She flat out never returns. Not even a mention in the series finale. I usually wouldn't make a big deal out of this, but Paloma spent an entire season dropping hints she's an alien. I actually enjoyed her presence with Betty and Noah. She added flavor to the Earth subplots. Why spend all that time building her up, only to then retire her? That leaves us with the rest of Season 3. It's a good shakeup to the status quo. Noah joins the Galactic Guardians, and the trio adapts to their new lives. The domestic and interstellar plots used to be mostly disconnected. Putting them in close proximity was a no-brainer.
Did you guys hear something?
Team Betty spends their time fighting aliens on Earth while simultaneously trying not to blow their cover to the humans. So now, each episode ends with a 1-minute short. They're pretty hit or miss. I couldn't find any sources on this, but this season felt like it cut more corners than usual. The 3D sequences and storyboarding are less ambitious, which is a real shame because that was a big strength of the show. On the upside, let's talk about my favorite addition. A real character arc. Noah tries to prove himself as a guardian. He's clumsy and reckless, but he perseveres. After getting 52 episodes of little to no development, it's refreshing having character growth. On some occasions, he gets to shine. My only issue is that he's underutilized in the grand scheme of things. For most appearances, he acts as a comic relief. I would have liked to see more moments where Team Betty thanks him for his contributions, but I guess it was more important that you learn
The way of the winner!
The way of the what?
Atomic Betty can get pretty dirty at times. So Admiral DeGill is the fish guy who assigns Betty on her missions.
Atomic Betty.
It seems you've come across an alien spacecraft. Now things are beginning to make sense. More later.
Whenever he's around, he hangs out with his fish concubines. He's not the most punctual leader. In Season 3, DeGill doesn't even hide it. In one episode, X5 walks into his luchador threesome, and X5 covers his eyes. Or get this, he floats past the channel of his concubines, strip teasing.
Yeah, I'm aware, Atomic Betty. Oops, wrong channel.
Betty doesn't seem to react. I guess she's seen so much weird crap, she's not at all surprised by his behavior. Let's talk about the ending. X5 built a time machine on Betty's 13th birthday. Maximus sets a trap, steals the machine, and takes over Earth in the future. Betty and Noah travel 5 years forward and work with their young adult selves. Team Betty takes back the time machine, returns to the past, and thwarts Max's trap. They make it in time for her birthday party. And huzzah! Happy ending! The series finale is, well, it's just fine. I'm so used to expecting explosive finales, but I guess a backdoor pilot was more important. This was an attempt to sell a sequel series. This episode aired the same year Ben 10 Alien Force came out. I bet the creators were like, Ben 10 tackling mature subject matter? We can do better. There was a planned sequel based on 17-year-old Betty, but that never materialized. I would have liked to see her Alien Force type adventures, but I'm happy with the show that we did get. Atomic Betty will always hold a special place in my heart. Okay, prize time. Y2K to the core. This show encapsulates every trend in animation during this time. The main character has spunk. She does a lot of sports. It has endless pop culture references, and it uses Adobe Flash. It doesn't get more 2000s than this. Most promiscuous leader. The Gil is such a ladies' man. He had a freaking fish harem. How did he get away with this? To infinity and beyond. Almost 2 decades later, I'm impressed with how well the presentation has aged. With such limited resources, they went above and beyond. I came into this show expecting a feverish nightmare, and I came out with pure awesomeness. The visual and post-production elements are superb, and the writing made me chuckle. I felt like a 6-year-old again. Would I recommend this show? I'm not entirely sure. With something like Edd N Eddy, any person of any age will enjoy it. It doesn't matter if you're 10, 20, or 30, everyone will get something out of it. Atomic Betty isn't as timeless. Its sensibilities are unequivocally mid-2000s. Toilet humor, sarcasm, and spunk. I have no clue if those qualities will resonate with a modern audience. If that doesn't deter you, then I wholeheartedly recommend Atomic Betty. Did you hear that? I finally broke the curse! Take that, Johnny Test! Uh-oh, that's not good. Thank you so much for watching. This show was quite the trip down memory lane. If there's any other 2000 series you think I should cover, let me know in the comments. I'd love to cover more Cartoon Network stuff. In the meantime, I'll catch you in the March video. See you soon!